Greetings comic lovers and welcome back to Casually Comics, the channel where we chat all things comics, from reviews of comics new and old, history to anecdotes to really wherever our whims take us. Future State, it continues. Today, Aquaman. Why? Because I have a soft spot for Aquaman, that's why. There's only so much time, gotta pick and choose. I am compelled by the mysteries and mythology of the sea. So way back, eons ago when I did my first video on Future State, the cover for this one got a hard pass by some. A dismissal as atonal, as kiddish compared to the rest. Well, if that's what you were expecting, get ready to have your expectations subverted. Because this cover, like Superman Worlds of War, is not exactly representing the tone that is going to be had within. We're talking limbs being chopped off, people. Now you're intrigued. But before we get started, I'm Sasha, and if you're enjoying this content, you know what to do. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, join us in this comic book journey. If you're feeling so inclined, hit that join button. It helps us produce more content, you get to be involved in behind the scenes videos, votes, and the like. This comic comes to us from Brandon Thomas, with art by Daniel Sempere, and colors by Adriana Lucas. They also did the cover, so we have matching art. Get excited. This cover is very friendly and inviting. Bright colors, blues and pinks, a sunrise or set in the background, probably a set. Andy riding a rather terrifying looking sea creature. That's Andy Cury, Aquaman's daughter. Jackson Hyde soaring, gazing into the middle distance. It's very visually appealing, but there's not a lot happening. And the poses are veering a bit towards static. It doesn't really give you a lot in terms of the pick this up cuz department. Like, oh, stuff's happening. It says, oh, look at the happiness. Do you like happiness? Here you go. So unless you like either or both of the characters, or just the concept of Aquaman, or you're collecting all of Future State, this may be a pass cover-wise for you. Inside we have an Infinite Frontier preview. They're starting to appear to attempt to get the audience hyped for March. In all of them, I just keep looking at who's in the background and who's in the foreground. And I wonder if it reflects the relevance or status that they're gonna have in the upcoming months and years. All of this while parts from the song My Band by D12 play in my head. Lose Yourself video, I was in the back. Superman video, I was in the back. We open on a chase panel. Neptune. Jackson Hyde escapes again. Now you may be thinking, Jackson Hyde, that looks like kaldur'ahm. Well, he both is and isn't. Let me explain. Kaldur'ahm is the Aqualad from Young Justice, the popular DC Universe TV series. A series which began in 2010, and that same year a character by the same name but also going by Jackson Hyde was introduced into the comic book realm. He first appeared in Brightest Day #4 in 2010. This version sported two names, kaldur'ahm and Jackson Hyde, his adoptive name. It was interesting and complicated. This version of the character was short-lived. DC did an entire company-wide reboot called The New 52, and that reboot did away with the majority of legacy characters, so bye-bye New Aqualad. He wouldn't reappear until DC Rebirth. This in DCU Rebirth 1 in 2016. He would be reimagined here as a gay youth, and he would also bear more of a physical resemblance to his animated Young Justice counterpart at times than he had previously. Here Jackson Hyde would be his name, full stop. Black Manta being his dad stays though, all versions. It's a good addition. Pathos. Since appearing in Rebirth, Jackson has been used actively. But if you dipped out and wondered, whose mans is this? Those were the cliff notes, the Jackson Hyde cliff notes. Also, his name is great and fun to say. I wish I was called Jackson Hyde. Hi, this is Jackson Hyde. Welcome to Casually Comics. Jackson is captured as he attempts to flee towards the surface, stopped in his tracks and driven to maniacal laughter by something that we do not see, but he deems as impossible. The Confluence. We see that Jackson is being held prisoner by someone who clearly watched 2018's Aquaman, as he for the first time gives his name and identifies himself as Aquaman. He tells them that everything has changed, that she's coming back, and then we dive straight into a flashback 6 years ago. Oh my word, a date that I don't have to go to the guidebook to seek out, a reference to time passing and the character is looking older and like that time has passed, plus 20 points to Future State Aquaman. Black Manta escapes again. No, Aqualas. Stop calling me that. It's Aquawoman or nothing, man. Can I be called Aqualas? I don't know, it's kind of catchy. It also makes me feel that everybody must have a really thick Highlander accent. So you're alive. Lucky. Whatever, Jackson. The two start bickering about her coming to help, and she argues back that he shouldn't have tried to take on his dad solo. We get a sense as they argue that they have a bit of a sibling-esque relationship, and as such, the talk quickly turns personal. You won't follow my lead, you won't take any of your training seriously, all you do— Maybe it's you, Jackson. You ever think of that? Maybe our problem is you. Maybe you're not Aquaman and you never will be. As she gets worked up, she starts to manifest a power that she's been keeping secret. An ability not just to communicate with sea life like her father, but to control it. An ability that frightens and horrifies her. Despite how defensive she is, Jackson says that she could have told him, that he just worries because he wants her to be safe, that his job is to make sure that she makes it back to her parents. And who told you that? My dad? This some kind of stupid boy thing where you need to protect me? It was your mother, actually.
Shows what you know.
However, the mood shifts when they realize that the water has changed color, and so has the sky. It's now pink. They realize that somehow they've traveled to another Earth, a parallel one, or perhaps even another planet. They've entered something called the Confluence. Now, if you're wondering, what is that? Don't worry, this is its first appearance. This pretty Pangea-looking phenomenon is an interdimensional ocean that connects all time and space, so if one swims through it, they can rapidly travel between worlds. The thing is, if you don't know what you're doing, you can very easily become lost. Perhaps forever. It's also guarded by a giant beast, but all the best space and time dimensional travel methods are. The Neptunians who have Jackson captured know about the Confluence.
So you must know then what the Confluence provides.
So we see that the two have traveled together to multiple worlds, and by see I mean we're told that. We don't actually get to see that, sadly. They've bonded while doing so, and they've just been going along helping people where they can. Jackson even seemed to be having a good time at the start.
If you haven't been through this at least once, they don't even let you join the Justice League.
Liar.
That's what I heard.
However, this peaceful Doctor Who-esque existence was not meant to last, as they are set upon by the Beast, which has a Cthulian world turtle thing going on. The Beast grabs them, traps them in its tentacles, and while Jackson is able to use his powers to escape and avoid the effects of its paralyzing venom, Andy is stuck. Desperate, he grabs onto her ankle to free her. We're not gonna make it, Jackson. Too weak now. I'm sorry. So to save Jackson, we see that Andy uses her abilities to slice off her leg so that he plummets to the water below while she remains in the clutches of the Beast. The expressions on Jackson's face as he falls and the pain on Andy's as she slices off her leg are excellently conveyed. And the first person perspective of Jackson watching this, you feel the helplessness and the horror, and the Beast feels massive with those thick tentacles. This is a cool panel, but my word, is it not what you'd expect when you see the cover. Oh wow, look at these two cool cats having fun. I can't wait for her to sever a limb to save his life. If you weren't expecting this, I can see this being a lot of a lot, or perhaps even too much. And some will rankle at seeing a young lass, I'm sorry, woman placed in such peril. Or some may feel that it's simply for shock value, that it's just like, why? This is meant to be a stuff gets real panel, and it certainly conveys that. It's meant to be a bit of a tonal shift from, ooh, this was a fun adventure, to now it gets serious. Tell them
I know what she said. I couldn't hear her from... I know what she said.
The Neptunians tell him that this was a waste, that had he spoken with them, they could have dealt with his deep trauma by making him forget it, by taking it away, that no civilized society would let a person suffer with such pain.
We are not savages. What kind of broken species sees trauma and regret as virtue?
Just once, it would be nice to be an alien species that thinks we're awesome, we've got our stuff together. Why can't we do what the humans do? One day. But that day is not future state Aquaman. Jackson says thanks, but no thanks. He's good. He declares that for some time he thought that something was wrong, that he used to be stronger, faster, more capable, and now he understands what it is. And he very pointedly and on the nose makes a declaration as to what that is. It's the trauma. He was suffering from a mental block.
I've just been in shock, like you said, and some deep trauma.
He says the restraints were calibrated for how strong they thought he was, how strong he showed them that he was. But now he's powered by hope, for what he saw at the issue's start was a message from Andy. And so he breaks his chains, looking awesome while doing so, may I say. And we get to see the message and why it made him laugh, because it was Aquawoman lives. As we saw that even right up to her being taken by the giant beast, he was still calling her Aqualass out of habit, or perhaps to annoy her. They had that kind of relationship.
Come on now, not polite to keep her waiting.
That's some nice back. Also, it's a cool action is about to go down panel. End issue 1. So this issue, gosh, it has a lot of potential. Just said gosh. Gee willikers, Batman. This could have stood to be a lot longer. There are tons of interesting ideas here that would have been fun to spend more time on. The whole slipping through worlds and the Confluence trying to get home. That really deserved a bit more space and would have been cool to see some of the adventures that they had doing that. Yes, travelers lost in time and space is not new, but there were some neat angles to explore here. The whole water world elements, different planets, the chance to expand upon the rapport between Andy and Jackson, as well as learn more about Andy's powers. All those were things I wanted, because this comic did get me interested in the concepts it was presenting. And for the little time it had to establish the relationship between these two characters, it did it well. It felt like they cared about each other. It even managed to make that leg slice have some weight. Granted, not as much as it would have if they had built up to it more, but still, you felt something. The art was well done, and both action and emotion were conveyed well. At times, the dialogue could be a bit on the nose and textbookish, particularly during the trauma discussion. The thing is, it was trying to do a lot, and so it did feel rushed and compressed, like you were skipping over a lot of things, getting the cliff notes. And you aren't really given any info into the remaining scenario. Pretty much all of the attention is given to the flashback portions that make up most of the issue. So you don't really know anything about who has Jackson, why do they have him, What do they want from him? What's the significance of her returning? Why are they afraid of it? Lots of unanswered questions. So this issue is really riding on a couple of things. You liking Jackson, you liking the Aquaman mythos or lore, you liking their relationship together and being compelled and drawn into it, and or you liking the imagery and art, concepts. For some, this may not be enough or it didn't come across well enough, and I can see this comic getting a solid or meh. Ideas and images are cool, but they also need to play out. If you don't enjoy the banter between these two characters, or feel the two timelines feel too disconnected from one another, this may dip even into being a bad comic for you. This issue also feels disconnected from the rest of Future State, which depending upon the reader could be a strength, a weakness, or a non-factor. For me, I enjoyed it, and even though a lot of it was potential of what could be, I was compelled by it. I want more of it. Expand it, please. This comic left me wanting more, so I am willing to stick with it to issue 2 and see where they go with it. Also, look at Jackson's back. For me, this was a solid Future State outing that some may sleep on because Aquaman. So many people sleep on Aquaman all the time. Put some respect on Aquaman's name. But that's just my opinion, and I want to hear yours. How was this outing for you? Are you here for more Jackson? Would you rather be called Aquawoman or Aqualad? Or would you like to skip that and get some kind of cool storm theme name like Tempest? Would you sever a limb for a friend? Let me know all your thoughts down below. While you're down there, please do all the YouTube things. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell notification so that you never miss a vid. Thanks so much for taking some time of your day to spend it discussing comics with me. I always appreciate it, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.